welcome back to my channel. Today, as promised, I am hitting you guys with Q&A. I selected a couple of questions that I received. A lot of the questions were repetitive, so I figured it must be what you guys want to know. I selected 15 questions that I will be answering today. I wish I could do more, but I really don't want to extend this video too long. If you're new to this channel, my name is Melody. This channel is going to be based mainly on my relationship with my husband, who is incarcerated. Well, starting with our questions, my first question was, what are your zodiac signs? So I am an Aquarius. My husband is a Pisces. Start from the beginning. How did you guys meet? So I met him when we were young. I met him in Bavaria. We would hang around in the park back then. I used to dance and play sports. So I was always at Ford Park, and so was he. So that's where we met. Can you put NB Writers as your intro? I wish I could, but I cannot. And actually, no, I don't wish I could, even though I do like NB Writers. But if I was able to pick a song, I would do Ocean and the remix with Jessie and Carol G. So if I could do a song and not get copyrighted, that would be my choice. How do I get him in the youth offender program? Now, for the youth offender program, it's something that they have to qualify for. And the way you know if they qualify is you go down to the CDCR website and you go under board schedules, or even the inmate locator, and you put in their CDC number. It gives you that information there if they qualify. I'm gonna go ahead and try to see if I can put the link down below in the description area. That way you guys can go ahead and hit it, and then that will take you directly to the CDCR inmate locator, and that is where you would find that information. How did you feel when your husband got his sentence? That is a hard one because I did not expect it. I did expect for him to go home. I thought even if he takes the deal, his deal is probably gonna be like 5 years, no biggie. Maybe even go home, like beat his trial and come home. I was just trying to stay positive. So that was one of my big mistakes, that I didn't, I wasn't being realistic, and, I didn't realize how serious the crime was and how serious his case was. It hit me really hard. However, I didn't let it affect me so much because I knew that he was the one that was gonna be taking it hard, because he's the one that decided to take the deal. So the minute he gave up, the minute he decided to go ahead and take a deal, I felt that at that point my feelings didn't matter. All that mattered is for him to know that regardless of anything, I was gonna be there for him. At that point, I think I pushed my feelings out of the way, and I was just worried about him. At the time that he got sentenced, he was on lockdown. He was in the county, he was in Twin Towers, and he was in the gang module. So back in 2007, 2008, it was really bad there. So he would stay on lockdown, and so around the time that he got sentenced, I couldn't even see him at that time. What I did is I would go put money in his books down in Central, and he would know. He called me that day, and I told him, hey, I'm gonna go put money in your books. I'm gonna go around 7, 8 o'clock, and I'll pass by, because his window you could see the street. So if I was to stand across the street from the county, there was a bail bond. So if I was able to stand there, he would see me. So I gave him the time that I was gonna be there. So I took my little sister with me, and we put the money in his books, and I was a couple of minutes early, and I was like, oh, he'll look eventually. It took about maybe not even 5 minutes that we were standing there. He started banging on the window. So I knew that he could see me, and that was the day that he got sentenced. And it was very emotional for me. It was really hard, but like I said, I would do anything to try to make things better for him, because he really is an amazing person, regardless of what people think of people that are incarcerated. He's human. He's just like you, just like me. Yes, did he make a mistake? Yes, but he's innocent. Just kidding. Okay, moving on. How did you handle him being locked up for so many years? Now, it's been hard. It's been hard, and at the beginning of it, once he got to reception, I remember I didn't want him to go to reception the day that they actually and let him know that he was going to prison, that he was catching the chain, that's what they called it. Oh, I cried that day because I was like, no, like now he's going to prison. And he was happy because he was tired of being in the county, but I was not having it. I didn't know where he was gonna go. That's the worst part about it, that you don't know where they're gonna land. I was just worried. I was 18 years old at the time, so I was like, wherever he lands, like, how am I gonna get there? How am I gonna do it? I had never visited anybody in prison before, had never even gone to a jail or anything like that. So it was just everything so fresh, and I was scared for him, even though he couldn't wait to get to prison. I was scared. There was another question: how did you deal with him, with knowing how long he was going to prison for? It's almost the same thing. We have such a good relationship, and we communicate so well, as much as we can, that it never gave me time to actually dread like the time, or to get depressed about it or anything like that. And he's a very positive person, and you know, sometimes he like just takes everything as a joke, that I'm just like, I wish I had his sense of humor. I'm a grouch, and he's a happy person, so I don't know how that's gonna work. But I don't know, he has a lot of the time, he's the one that keeps me sane and that keeps me on track. And it hasn't always been easy and picture perfect. It hasn't. There's times where we both get frustrated. It's been hard. Have you guys talked about having a family? Yes, we have, and we plan to. The only reason why we haven't started a family is we both decided it's something that he wants to be a part of from beginning to end, and I respect that, because it would be very difficult, like going to visit and I see like all the moms dealing with taking their kids, especially kids in car seats and strollers and stuff like that. I don't know how they do it. That's very difficult. It seems very difficult. Me, as it is, you know, I pack a whole bag of different outfits just in case I have to change. I can only imagine having to deal with carrying a baby, and plus I knew that he was gonna get out by the time I hit 32. That this is something that we could hold off and that we can experience together, because it's not something that I wanted to go through by myself. And you know, as it is, yes, I could handle my own weight, and I would have been perfectly fine if I decided to have a baby with him and raise them on my own while he's doing time, and meanwhile he comes home to us. But it just wasn't something that that he was willing to not be part of. So I respected that, and that's one of the reasons why I love him even more, because he always thinks about me first and about what's beneficial for me and what's convenient for me. And he always told me that, he's like, you don't deserve for me to have you out there doing everything on your own, and I will never put you through that. And that's something that I genuinely respect. Next question: how often do you guys write to each other? Okay, so for every 3-4 letters that he writes me, I write one. He gets so mad at me, but I work I have an 8 to 5. I'm in the computer all day at work. The last thing I want to do is come home and write a letter. But I mean, at least I answer every one of his calls. I talk to him every day. I'm like, what do you really want me to write you? I wrote him for the past 15 years. So at this point, it's like, what else do I write you? Like, what? You know everything. You call me every day. I tell you everything that's going on. I write him, I send him letters, and I end up telling him everything over the phone. I'm like, I'm just wasting paper here. But I do love getting his letters, so I would be upset if he stops writing me, because I look forward to his letters. So yeah, it's not fair. Maybe I should start writing him more often. What's the longest he has been in the hole, and how did you deal with it? Okay, now this caused problems. When he was in the county, he was in the hole probably did most of his time in the freaking hole. He was in the hole a lot. Prison, I want to say only once, and it wasn't for that long. But in the county, I would show up to visit. I would wake up early, get ready, go line up in that big ass line in the damn county, only to get to the front and the sheriff tell me, oh, he's in the hole, can't see him. He's gonna be in the hole for 45 days. He's gonna be in the hole for 60 days. He's gonna be in the hole for 1 month. And I remember I used to be pissed. Like, all right, cool. I would be so upset because first of all, I'm giving up my sleep. Like, just everything. I was like, you're so fucking selfish. And he's like, it's not like I do it on purpose. You know, if something happens, something happens. And I totally understand and I get it. And the county was, and back then things were crazier in county and in prison. I feel like now things have slowed down, which is a good thing. It's not as bad as it used to be around that time. It was a lot of the riots going on. So I understand it. You know, I get it. But it sucks to be the one to fucking go there thinking you're gonna see them, to wake up early, get ready, go line up. And those county lines are horrible, and the people around there, it's just the people you have to deal with. And the sheriffs, they're assholes. Like, just everything, all the, like, the experience, it sucked. And to go for nothing. And then mind you, you have to pay for parking. You have to pay for parking, all that. And it's, you're not even guaranteed to visit, because you're not guaranteed that he won't be in the hole. You're not, you know, and nothing is guaranteed. So I hated it. I hated him being in the county. Have you guys ever broken up while he has been incarcerated? Yes, we did. And that is something that I was thinking of doing a whole separate video on, but I will go ahead and give you guys a little something. In 2015, I had a tragedy happen in my family. So at that time, I felt like my focus was not where it's supposed to be. I started like kind of like pushing him away. I started just worrying about what I was going through. It caused us to kind of like detach. And at that point, he started getting in trouble, and he kept getting like write-ups, so they would take his visits away, so you know, things like that. And I was over here going through my own thing, so I wasn't even worried about him. I felt like at that time I needed his support, and at that time he felt like he needed my support. And just, there was no connection, there was no communication, there was a big disconnect. So at that time, he did his thing, I did my thing. Like, I was like, you know what, this is just, maybe it's time. And at that point, it was the 10-year mark of him being arrested. It was so it was just so many mixed emotions, and it was hard, but we still communicated. It's not like we were like, oh, we're breaking up, and you're doing you, I'm doing me, and we're not ever gonna speak to each other again. It wasn't like that. It was like, you know what, this is not like not working out. Like, I'm going through so much, you're going through so much, I can't even see you. It was more of that situation. It wasn't like I stopped loving him, or I hated him, or anything like that, and vice versa. It wasn't like that with me. I think he knew that I needed the space and I needed the time, because like I said, I was just going through so much. At that time, my brother passed away in 2015. I kind of resented my husband, because a lot of the times, a lot of my weekends were dedicated to him. I would travel, I would go visit him. He was in high desert. That was an 11-hour drive, and if it was snowing, it was like a 16, 17, 18-hour drive. So it took away a lot of time that I could have spent with my brother, and I'm gonna get into that. But I started seeing things, and maybe that was my mistake. Like, I shouldn't have seen things like that, but that's how I felt at the moment. And at that moment, I was like, you know what, everything I've put into this relationship, I've lost. It's cost me a lot. So at that time, I decided to depart, like, just let it be, keep my distance. And it took a while, but we always kept in touch. He always called me, I always answered, because like I said, I always wanted to assure that he was okay, because I love him, and I'm always gonna love him. That's when I knew it was real. dumb as that's gonna sound, the minute that we broke up and the time that we lasted apart is where I knew it was real. Like, I'm never gonna love somebody the way I love him. I'm never gonna feel loved the way he makes me feel loved. And it was something that I learned the hard way. But yet it happens for a reason. It only made our bond and our relationship stronger. So moving on, before I get all emotional and shit. What was the longest time period you went without talking to him? Around that time, the times that we've had disagreements, around the time that we were broken up, I would say he would go like a month without calling me, and that's a lot for him. He would go like a month without calling me, and then he'll finally call me and I'll laugh on the phone, and I'm like, and he's like, shut up, don't even say anything. And I'm like, oh, Mr. Tough Guy, I thought you were never gonna call me again. But you know, it's a mutual thing. It's just, we can't, like, for some reason we just can't detach completely. It's not gonna happen. There's no way it's gonna happen. What is the first thing you want to do when Anthony is released? Well, I've thought about this because it could be so close. It could be in the next couple of months. Now, this is the thing. He doesn't have an ID. So we have to wait. There's a lot of things we can't do because he doesn't have an ID. I'm still going to have to take him to see his parole, take him to the DMV, Social Security. Like, all these things have to be done within the first couple of days that he's out. However, because of the time that he's done, he hasn't seen a lot of his family, other than like a couple of his immediate family members. But other than that, and his cousin, which is my best friend, I used to make her ass go with me. I think that that's one of the most important things for him, is to get out and see his family on the day of. Well, that's the only thing that's set in stone for right now, is him getting out, spending time with his family, and then getting his stuff together. And I mean, he can't even leave the county until he's off parole technically, so it's not like I can plan something that I would want to do, like a trip or anything like that. It's not gonna be like that. It's gonna be very difficult. Would you have to rekindle the love again once he's out? I wouldn't say rekindle the love, because the love has always been there, and it's not something that has ever died out, and that's the reason why we're still here and I'm still here. It's gonna be having to build a whole different type of love. And you know, let's see if he still loves me when he's out, because I am a messy person and I am not an early person. He could be up at 5:30 ready to program, like you know, ready to get his day started, happy, bumping music. That is not me. So we might have issues there, but we'll see if he still loves me when he says that I am not a morning person. What did he say about your YouTube videos? He was not happy. He was not happy. He was not having it. He was like, hell no, I don't want anybody looking at your videos. I don't want guys to be liking your stuff and commenting on your stuff. I'm like, it's not like that. He's like, then they're gonna want to be your friends. I'm like, it's not like that. He doesn't understand how it works. So he thinks that people are automatically gonna have access to me by putting a video out there. And yes, people can comment, I can answer and stuff like that. But I think it's hard for him to understand the aspect of YouTube, social media, period. But it is something that, of course, like always, I convinced him to let me do. He's never been one to tell me, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. He just told me, these are my worries. Like, this is the reason why I don't think it's a good idea. But if you want to do it, go for it, you know? So he's never been one to tell me what to do or tell me not to do something I want to do. I feel like once he sees that it's not such a big deal, that he's gonna be more like, okay, go for it, you know, it doesn't really matter. The purpose of this channel is to get to know me, my relationship with him. It's not gonna be at all about what happens in prison, because I don't know. I'm not in there. He is, and a lot of the things that happen in there, he doesn't, you know, he's not gonna share them with me. Like, that's not something that he wants me to know. How long have you guys been married? So we've been married for 11 years. We got married April 11, 2009. We got married in High Desert. even though it wasn't the ideal wedding setting. It meant a lot to both of us. Obviously, it was a day that we will both always remember. And to touch a little bit more on that, we are planning to have a wedding and having our families there and having everything. So that's something that we're gonna work on once he's home. Do you get conjugal visits? Okay, this is my last question. I do get conjugal visits. Conjugal visits are known as family visits. So all the family visits due to the coronavirus were canceled and they're being rescheduled. They haven't gave us a new date yet. That is something that he's gonna get as soon as they are off. At that point, they're gonna start rescheduling everybody's family visits. So we should probably have a date around maybe August or September. I want to thank everybody that took their time to send me questions. Without your guys' questions, I wouldn't have been able to make this video. If there's anything else you guys want to know, go ahead and follow me on Instagram. Go ahead and send me a DM. I am more than willing to answer any questions. Comment them down below. I'll go ahead and get back to you guys on those. So I am going to be pretty consistent. I will be posting my next video Sunday, and after that it will be every Wednesday and Sunday. So stay tuned, guys. I hope that I was able to keep you guys entertained. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like my video, and turn on your notifications so you're notified every Sunday and Wednesday when I post my new videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. Till next time.